2018 has started much like 2017 ended in Washington, with lots of tweets and more controversy. And Loyola Marymount University Professor Michael Genovese joins us now for a closer look. And of course, this big bombshell book, I mean, stores are sold out of this book. So many people want to get their hands on it since the president tried to keep it off of the shelves.
Right.
Do you think when people read this, it's really going to have an impact on the president and his ability to govern?
Well, it was a bombshell, but it was also kind of chaos as usual. This is the way they operate. It's day-to-day chaos, and it's characterized the entire first year of the Trump presidency. So on the one hand, it's titillating and it adds a lot of interesting stories and some sidelines, but it's also quite typical. I think, you know, the White House operates as a crisis du jour. The president is a drama queen who loves drama and loves to be the center of attention. And so, you know, 2017, the president utterly dominated the public space, and that's his style. The question is, will we get tired of that, and will these revelations in this book lead to further investigations and further criticism of the president?
Well, you know, in December, we heard that there were a dozen members of Congress that met with a prominent psychiatrist to discuss the mental state of President Trump. What was this all really about, and is this something we should be watching?
There's long been a question about the president's fitness to govern, and that fitness can be in one of three different dimensions. The first is experientially, and we know that the president had no political or military experience coming into office. We knew that when we elected him. The second area of concern is temperamentally. The president is kind of a spoiled child, must be the center of attention, very thin-skinned. But the third dimension, and that's what this book really raises, is the psychological dimension. And of that, I'd say two quick things. One, it's very dangerous to diagnose at a distance. It's unfair to the person you're diagnosing, and you really can't do a good job of it. But the second thing I'd say is that the presidency is of such enormous importance that we can't help but ask these questions. You've got a person with his finger on the button who might be able to launch a nuclear attack at will. And so while it's difficult and dangerous to do it, we have to make some very cautious efforts at that.
And speaking of the nuclear button, the president has tweeted, you know, at North Korea's Kim Jong-un. And do you think it has a strategic component, or was it merely just Trump venting against Kim? Well,
you know, he does vent a lot, and you've got two spoiled children in Kim Jong-un and Donald Trump. You know, my button's bigger than yours. That's what 14-year-olds talk about. But the president has long been, and we quite clearly know this, obsessed with size, whether it's the size of his inaugural crowd, his hands, or the size of now his button. The Sigmund Freud Society should give him a Lifetime Achievement Award. I mean, he's just like a poster boy for them. You should know, literally, there is no button. There is no such thing. It's a valise that's carried by a military official who's with the president or near him 24/7. And so there's really no button, literally.
Okay. Well, there's been so much controversy going around, but there are really some important issues to be faced in the coming months. And what might we expect in the first few months of the new year?
Well, the first big thing is in 2 weeks, January 19th, they either have to figure out a budget or there's a government shutdown. And we've had a few shutdowns in the past, and they've really come down very hard on Republicans for that. And so that's one big thing. But if you look at the issues, foreign policy is going to be big. North Korea will continue to be big. The president inherited a mess, so it's not that of his creation. But the problem is, on his watch, North Korea has developed the capacity not just to deliver a nuclear weapon, but deliver one perhaps to the United States mainland, and if not now, they soon will be able to. So that's on his watch, and that'll be a continuing problem. China's rise will be an ongoing problem. His America First approach to foreign policy, which in many cases leads to an abdication of leadership in the global community, will be a big issue for the global community in the next year or so. And domestically, the Mueller investigation. That will come to a head in 2018 at some point. And anything could happen, from the exoneration of the president to an impeachment. And so that's going to be a thing to watch. But in terms of policies, immigration, the wall, who's going to pay for the wall? Right now it looks like our Congress is being asked to. DACA, Dreamers, infrastructure, a whole slew of things. And the question is, will Trump govern the nation or will he govern the base? He's governed the base in the first year and it led to 35% popularity. He's not going to be able to get away with very much of that in the second year. And then there's always the surprise that you don't expect. A natural disaster, a country acts up. And so, you know, the president's job is 24/7 and it's a crisis du jour job, and presidents have to be ready for anything and everything.
And we hope he's ready. All right. Thank you so much, Michael.